Why is good service reserved for non-black customers? Now, I was in Montreal this one day. Not this one day, I went for a week, and that's where I record all those other videos. That's why, the scenery is a little bit different. Anyways, I was inside of Montreal and, I decided to go to this Senegalese restaurant. And, it was great and all. I mean, I came there and I didn't speak a lick of English, so I had to, kind of maneuver my way around that. But I finally got seated and they just asked me, go around and, there's a restaurant side there and there was no one there. So I was like, okay, well, let me try out the food. I've been watching a lot of those like TikTok videos where that guy goes to like restaurants that people aren't eating at and like he tries a bunch of stuff. So I was like, low-key, let me try like a small shop as well. So I was sitting there and, they gave me like a water pitcher and stuff like that. And when I finally got my food, it was cool, whatever. I'm eating and they get like a delivery, right? So this guy comes in and like he has this like giant box of, I think, beverages or whatever. And he's like slamming it down on the floor. And even the other lady, I feel like she's like one of the owners of the restaurant. She was even like, yo, like there's a guy eating there, you know what I mean? Like chill a little bit, But as they're like bringing in more of the stuff, like he just kept slamming it down. And as I'm eating, to me, I don't really care that much. But as I was eating, I'm like, there's no way you do this for everyone, you know what I mean? And it had me thinking to some past experiences of me inside of just black businesses and, establishments and restaurants and whatever. And it really had me thinking, there's no way that, the quality of service, because I've been in some places where it's like, I come in and it's vibes, it's cool, hey, how are you? Dap me up, whatever, right? And I'm still there. And then like some Caucasian folks, actually, screw it, some white folks come in. And it's like there's no difference besides like our race, and the quality just goes up. It's, oh, how are you? Do you need anything? Here's our menu, whatever, right? And it has you thinking, it's like, what's with the switch up? But first, my name is Mr.Yyetti. I believe that the way that we conduct our lives is the same way we conduct business and vice versa. If that sounds like your cup of tea, make sure to subscribe so you stay notified of all of our weekly videos. Now, let's talk about what my problem is with black businesses. Now, some of you guys probably read it and thought, oh boy, here's a coon, right? Or some of you guys maybe think that I have a problem with black people doing business. Not at all. My problem is with this asymmetry in the level of service. I've been to a good amount of black businesses, as I'm sure anybody in Canada and especially Ontario has as well. But for myself, there are certain things that like stay inside of my core memory that I'm just like, what did that have to do with anything, right? One time I was at a chicken spot and, me and some friends, we finished eating and I was like, hey, do you guys have any like wet wipes or whatever? Like I ate with my hands, right? Like, do you have any? And the server guy, he was talking to us the entire time. Like we were trying to eat and this guy was like talking to us the whole time. Like at a certain point, I'm like, dog, like I'm here to talk to my friends, not you, right? But, he'd gotten chummy with us at this point, right? So when I'm asking for napkins, or not even just napkins, I'm asking for wet wipes, he's like, bro, this is a black shop. You know what I mean? Like, wet wipes. I was like, what? Right? And even my friend, he was like, come on, Victor. Like, what are you asking for wet wipes inside of a black restaurant? And I genuinely was shocked. I'm like, why is this something that, like, black people can't have? You know what I mean? Why is bougie reserved for non-black people, right? Then another time, and this also, like, is stuck in my core memory where I brought a friend to this cafe, and both of us, we were sitting and we decided to work there. So we pulled out laptops, we got some coffee. It was cool vibes. Again, I know the owner. It was cool. It was great. But the problem is that while we were working, these guys are like bickering in the back, they're talking about some improvements they're trying to make to the shop and stuff. And they're like genuinely having an argument. And to me, I was just like, bro, now I understand that we're the only people inside the restaurant, but we're still customers. You know what I mean? Like, you would not have an argument about the restaurant, like loud argument. And like, I was like, white. You know what I mean? Now, some of you guys might be sitting here and being like, Victor, you should see this as a badge of honor. They see you as family, right? But it's like, I'm not your friend. I'm not your family. I'm not any of these things. I'm your customer, right? And I feel like more people should like demand that level of service. You know what I mean? You're running a business. Like, why do you want me to see you as like family or a friend? Like, I'm your customer. I came here to pay you money for a service and, I should get the same level of service. Like, if that's how you treated everyone, fair enough. You know what I mean? But I know that's not, right? And it has me thinking about, this one Kendrick lyric where he's like, there's a difference between black artists and whack artists, right? Um, and it had me thinking about, a difference between like, a black business and a whack business, right? And I feel like too many black businesses just assume that when a black customer comes in, they're doing it to just blindly support the business, Oh man, I just love what you're doing in the store and I love the way that you're being black and an entrepreneur. Here's my money, right? And anyone who's not black is an actual customer who's coming in. They're unbiased and it's purely because, they're there for the product and the business side. And I think that that's just so weird. You know what I mean? Like, just because we're the same race does not mean I'm obligated to support you. And just because I choose to support you, it's not because you're black, right? It's because I need coffee or I need, shampoo or I need a soap or I actually need the product you're selling, right? I need a do-rag. I don't go to 4YE. I mean, obviously, there's aspects of it where it's like, I go to 4YE because they're black owners and I like what they're doing and they're from Toronto, whatever, right? But at the other side, I also do need a do-rag. So it's like, I should get that same level of service. And 4YE is awesome. Regardless of who you are, they don't give you discounts because you're black and they don't give you favoritism because you're black. But they also do not like ship your stuff late because you're black and you'll forgive them. They treat you like a customer. And that's a good business. You know what I mean? That's how good entrepreneurs operate. They don't change the service because of the color of your skin. That makes no sense, right? Now, I have to make a disclaimer. I live in Canada, right? I grew up in BC, and that has its own bearings on my views of black businesses and, the level of service that I've received. But then in Canada as a whole, there aren't as like black people. There isn't really anywhere, I would say, in Canada, Toronto, maybe some parts of Nova Scotia. But as a whole, there isn't anywhere that black people are the majority, right? So obviously there's that mindset where we see one of us and we're genuinely overjoyed and we immediately like, okay, we're family, right? I'm sure, and I feel like inside the US, for example, right? In places where there are predominantly black people inside of that neighborhood, the businesses in that neighborhood, black person comes in, that's not like a minority. You know what I mean? It's like I'm used to seeing my own people all over the place and businesses with people that look like me all over the place. So customer's a customer, right? But down here, it's like the joy of seeing each other makes it that we get a little bit too comfortable and the service deteriorates, right? We can be friends after hours and, on the street and whatever. But when I come into your business, I'd like to be treated like a customer. So I have to say that this isn't all black businesses and it's not only black businesses that do this. I'm sure that if you're Asian and you go into an Asian restaurant, they probably are a little more chummy with you and maybe the service goes down a little bit because they're like, you understand, you get why, whatever, right? And they expect you to be forgiving, right? So I'm sure that's the same like in different places. I am black, so that's all I can speak on, right? I'm Canadian, so that's all I can speak on. But now that we've gotten that out of the way, I have this is a big problem and I think it's something that needs to be fixed. If you're a black owner, make sure that, whoever comes through your doors, you treat them like, an ideal customer and you give them the best service you can. Don't give out freebies the same way that you expect them to fully support you and not expect a discount. I am coming in fully expecting that I will get the full service. You know what I mean? But I'm probably rambling. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm sure there's many of you who might disagree with me. Let me know in the comments because what do I know?